Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be planting up a hummingbird loving container. I am really interested in attracting hummingbirds to my garden, and I've taken a couple steps in the right direction. I did purchase a hummingbird feeder, and I have it hanging in my yard. It's beautiful. It's blue and red, and it's blown glass with a beautiful design on the outside. I purchased it off of Amazon and in hopes, to attract the hummingbirds. I will link it in the description box below if anyone is interested in that hummingbird feeder. I also learned how to make the sugar water nectar, which is what you put inside of your hummingbird feeder in order to attract them. And all it is basically is 1 cup of white sugar combined with 4 cups of tap water. You bring it to a boil on your stove and then turn it off and let it cool. And then that's what you fill your hummingbird feeder with, and they're attracted to that sugar water. So I have been doing that, but I have not seen any hummingbirds at all. I do know that some of my neighbors have hummingbird feeders that I have seen on other streets, in my neighborhood. I don't know if those neighbors are seeing any hummingbirds yet, so not quite sure. I'm still learning about hummingbirds. I'm enjoying learning about hummingbirds. I just want to be able to attract a few to my yard this summer. So my next step, well, first of all, I did have my hummingbird feeder just outside my patio door, almost on the patio, and I probably can show you a picture of where it was, but I almost felt like, okay, I'm not seeing any hummingbirds, so I thought maybe the reason for that was that it was too close to the patio. So I decided to move my hummingbird feeder, so I moved it right around the corner here, and I'll insert a little clip of that, but that's where I moved my hummingbird feeder to, and it's basically in a full sun area, and I am going to plant up a huge container of hummingbird loving plants. I have learned that the hummingbirds are attracted to reds and oranges, like bright colors like that. They're also attracted to flowers with little trumpet flowers on them. An example would be like the Wine and Roses Weigela that has more of like a little trumpet flower. And I also, one of the flowers I purchased for my container was the Vermillionaire, and I'll show you what that looks like. And that is a bright orange color, and it also has like a little trumpet flower, and that is just so that the hummingbird's little beak, it has like a longer beak, can get into the flower easily and get all the goodies that they want from that flower. Okay, so this is where I have my hummingbird feeder now. It's in a full sun area, and just below that I have this pot here that I'm going to be using as my container for my hummingbird plants. And again, I got this off of Amazon. Drainage hole is there. It is a plastic container. I will link it in the description box below if anyone is interested. And I chose kind of a bright color. I thought it looked nice up against the colors of the feeder that I had chosen. And I do have one far off in the distance too, and I thought I would plant up another one over there as well. I may have to reposition that so it gets full sun, and as I'm looking at this container too, I might have to just scooch it around to the other side of the feeder so that it's in full sun. So let's get started. So I have my pot and I filled it with potting mix, and I'm going to get started with my first plant for this hummingbird container. And I've chosen just an ornamental grass. It's not that the hummingbirds are attracted to ornamental grasses. I just like it as a nice thriller component for my container. So this is the Proven Winners Graceful Grasses Purple Fountain Grass. And I love this grass. I always find a place for it in my garden every year. It really is so reliable. It's just a shame it's an annual in my area, so it does die back and it doesn't come back as a perennial. It's an annual except in zones 9A to 11B. So those of you who are in zone 9A to 11B, I'm envious that this purple fountain grass can come back for you year after year. It gets 30 to 36 inches tall, and it has these beautiful plumes that are purple, maroon in color that come up, and it lasts all season into the fall. Like if I plant this up for the summer season, I really don't have to take this out of the pot until November, really, because I usually keep it up through the fall for fall interest. I will leave it in my garden until I'm ready to button things up for winter time. I'm choosing to kind of put my thriller in the back of the container just so it can have enough room to kind of spread out and do its thing, but it doesn't cover up all of the beautiful color that I'm going to have going on in the front. And where I'm going to be positioning it, the back side of this container will be kind of up against these shrubs here. So I'm not too worried about someone seeing it from this side, because it'll be snugged up against actually some golden vicary privet and this limelight hydrangea here. Okay, next up is this beautiful plant called the Vermillionaire. And just take a look at that. And you can see what I was talking about with the trumpet flowers. You can see how they are longer and more narrow. Oh, there goes Lucy. You can see how they're longer and more narrow, like a tube. And that's what the hummingbirds are attracted to. And this is the Vermillionaire. Just ignore Lucy. She sees the neighbor dog in the yard next door. You can see the flower of the Vermillionaire actually has like a little pink coming out of its tip. I don't know if it's catching that on camera, but it's beautiful. Very unique. I think I'm going to put it right in front of the ornamental grass, because I feel like it'll kind of go in either direction. And it'll spread the love on both sides of the pot. Yeah, I like that. This is my next flower that I'm using for this container, and it's called Proven Winners Luscious Royale Cosmo. And I'll show you the tag. And you can see it has a beautiful leaf and a beautiful flower, and I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but it has a hot pink color, but there's also like a peachy color in there as well, which is really beautiful. This is a full sun plant. It gets 12 to 26 inches high, and it's a lantana, and no deadheading required, which is something that I really appreciate. And I picked it because of its bright color. It doesn't really have a tubular flower on it that the hummingbirds would necessarily be attracted to, but I chose it because of its bright color, and I thought that would help attract the birds as well, the hummingbirds. And I'm just going to go in on the side with this one. Okay, this is the next plant that I'm using in this combination. And look at that bright, beautiful color. That's got to attract the hummingbirds, don't you think? Look at that. And this is actually a Nesia. It's a Proven Winners Sunosteospermum Blood Orange Nesia hybrid. And I usually purchase the Nesia, the A Romance Mulberry. So I've never purchased this before. And like I have said, I really usually don't buy the oranges or the reds or any of those hot colors, but I am loving them more and more. So I'm excited about this hummingbird container. So this plant, the Sunosteospermum Blood Orange Nesia, gets 10 to 14 inches tall. It has a mounded habit. And it's considered a filler for your container because it has a mounding habit and it doesn't get too tall. It's just 10 to 14 inches compared to the grass and the vermillionaire, which are going to get much taller. So I'm going to put that right in front of the vermillionaire, I think, and it'll spread out nicely. That is a beautiful color. I like it. And this is the last plant I'm going to be using in this combination. And then I'm actually going to put a couple trailers in there as well. But this one here, now I just had the tag for it. What did I do with it? This is not a proven winners, and it looked a lot better when I picked it up at the nursery. You can see a couple of the blooms are spent and died back, but you can see a picture of that beautiful bloom. And this is the Zion Purple Sun Osteospermum. It's a daisy-looking flower that is stunning in gardens and mixed containers. 16 to 20 inches, and it requires full sun as well. And I just thought the hummingbirds would be attracted to that color as well. I thought it was beautiful. So we'll get that planted up as well. Put this right over here on this side. Really liking how this is turning out. I don't know if you can see, it's looking wonderful. I'm really happy with it. The only thing I'm going to do is come in and just put a little trailer here and a little trailer over here. And I just am going to be using my dollar vinca vines. Look at how beautiful and awesome that vinca vine looks. I think I told you in my last video I had stopped at Treichler's, a local nursery here where I live. I'm in Zone 6B in Western New York. And they had a big sale. And these vinca vines were $1. $1. So you can always pop a vinca vine into a container and, you know, it enhances the look of the container for sure. So I just picked up a whole bunch for $1 and I'm using them on all of my containers this year. So I'm just going to pop that in. I have another one over here. Look at how beautiful. The vinca vine. And this plant is always sold as an annual. It's always, you know, put in with the annuals at my nurseries, but I have had it winter over in my garden. Like I said, I'm in Zone 6B, and I have had it winter over. I did have some in this bed, actually right over here, but it was accidentally pulled out by someone else. No big deal. I think they thought it was a weed, but you know, it does winter over. So I think if you put it in the right spot, you can have vinca vine for, you know, your next year. I'm just going to get some potting soil and fill in any bare spots. Make sure everything is covered and happy. Okay, I just have a little bit of this land and sea compost left in this container. And I'm sure these annuals will appreciate that. So I'm going to just top dress with some of this compost here. And here are my plant tags that I always like to keep. That's something that I do all the time, is I keep my plant tags. It's a good reference, and you can just keep them from year to year, and you can check back on what you've planted in years past if there's something that you want to revisit. And I also like them if someone's in your garden and they're, admiring a container, they can just simply look at the tags and see what you've planted. So let's go put these in our pot. And here's the finished product, my Hummingbird Loving Container. I hope to see some of my little friends soon. And I'll just back up and show you, it's right alongside my patio here, where I have some golden Vicary privet, some early bird catmint, and we just recently extended this bed a little bit, so that's why there's kind of a space there. We're going to be working some more on that. And right around the corner, right next to the pot, I have my Hummingbird Feeder. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you were motivated and inspired by watching me put together a Hummingbird Loving Container. It is a hot day here. It is like 90 degrees. This whole week we are in the 90s with high humidity. So I picked quite a day to pot up this container, but I'm glad I'm moving forward and I'm getting things done, and that feels good. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you were motivated and inspired to get out into your own backyard, into your own garden space, learn a little bit, and try something with hummingbirds in your backyard. So I will see everyone in my next video. Have a great day.